Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Make Believe, where we're playing the house in Fata Morgana. Last time, um, Giselle entered Michelle's room and found the painting, but then he confronted her in that um tight situation, and that triggered her trauma, and she ran away. So then we got a flashback of what was that tiny mistake that she did that got her sent to this mansion and what her trauma was about. So now we have her in the middle of the forest. I wonder what's gonna happen from here. I didn't want to think about that. I've been trying so hard to forget about it. I wanted to forget all about it. So why? Why did you have to make me remember? All I all I did was believe. You gotta believe. Believe that we can make things work. Uh, uh, why? How could you? God, I can't take it anymore. Uh, uh, ah, ah, ah. Once the memories had broken free, they all flooded back with perfect clarity. Exactly how he ran his hands across me. Exactly where he hit me. Where he cut me. Like I was going through it again. This very moment. Mm, Ah, ah, ah. The rain was cooling me down on the outside, but so much nauseating heat had built up in my gut, I vomited all over the ground. I threw up, and I threw up, and I threw up, until there was nothing left vile. Uh, uh, and when I have nothing left to expel, the strength evacuated from my knees and I collapsed. I didn't know if everything was blurry because of the rain, or because my eyes had decided they were done looking at anything. The whole world twisted before me. Ah, Joe's no different. My attempt to get close to him, to always keep a smile on, was all a waste. Because he could clearly tell you were hiding something. And that just made those attempts seem even more fake. So he didn't trust that. The look in his eyes was terrifying, like he didn't believe in anything at all. But he probably wouldn't have believed me anyways if I had told him the truth. If he's convinced I have an ulterior motive, there's probably no changing his mind. Such a cold rain. If I lie down here and go to sleep, I wonder if all the warmth will eventually drain from my body and then decompose and become part of the earth. You know, that might actually be nice. I'd like that. I always thought I didn't want to die. That I wanted to go back to the way things were. But who cares anymore? I did my best after all, and that still got me nowhere. Fearful Giselle was all just a farce. And when I'm dead, all my worry for my mom and sister will fade away with me. Oh God, I doubt you have a place for me on high. I am, after all, an unclean woman, and I've given up on living altogether. But even if I can't get into heaven, that's okay. I just, I want release. The rain pitter pattered down through the leaves overhead. chilling my skin. The cold spread through my flesh and into my bones, my heart and lungs and stomach, freezing me like a block of ice. My consciousness drifted away from me, and the world slipped through my fingers. More than fear, I felt relief. Utter black. And that was sure was the end of me. Or so I believed. Oh, we're back to the present now. And that, I was sure, was the end of me. I am, even now, putting her through a harrowing experience. Digging up the memory she locked away. The past she wanted to pretend never happened. I guess in a way, I'm doing the same thing that Michelle was doing. Trying to discover about her past that she's hiding and making her relive her trauma. And laying it all out before her once more. But I must get her back to who she once was. Even if it means forcing her to endure this. She must remember everything. Because I need to know. Why did she become the maid? Okay, the way he put it, the protagonist put it, sounds very selfish. Oh, she's going through a lot of pain. But she has to, because she has to go through all that just because I want to know. Wow. Why did she become the maid? And what secret does this house hold? You're Michelle. Yes, my name is Michelle. Okay. Okay. So we are Michelle. I am not the white-haired girl. Why were we not be able to see our reflection in the mirrors? I don't know. The person you were searching for was a man who once hurt you deeply. Me. Why? What was her why referring to? Why I hurt her? Or why I'm here? Or perhaps why I didn't show up until now? Not having an answer for her, I clenched her cold hands in mine. I wonder, were her hands this cold that night too? There's still more we need to see though. And it's still too soon for me to apologize. When she's gotten everything back, only then can I. Once she reclaimed herself, that is when I must tell her. Now, let us return to our past. Our story has only just begun. No matter what we thought or what we desired, no matter what we lost or how much pain we suffered, we must not shut this door. And we're back into the story. Perfect darkness embraced us once more. I can see nothing, not even the woman beside me. But I shall not let go of her hand. I do not want her to slip away from me. I do not want to lose her. And I'm guessing this is her waking up in a room in this dimension. Hey, what? Stay with me. Are you alright? Or perhaps this is that guy that was keeping watch in the house from outside and delivering the packages. Oh, thank goodness, you're awake. How's your head? Can you see me? What? You had me scared silly there. I thought I might lost you for good. I'm really glad you're alive. Where am I? And who is this man? What was I doing? You filling up for any food? I can whip up some porridge for you right quick. Ah, I was in the forest. It was raining. Before that, I was at the mansion. I was sick. Like there's still something in my stomach. No, thank you. I don't want anything. You really should have something. You need to keep up your energy. Unless you want to conk out again in an hour. Sounds good to me. I'd rather never wake up at all. You're not in the highest of spirits either, it seems. All the more reason to get something warm in you. Please, have something. I got some milk on the fire. I bet you can handle a cup of that. You start losing all hope once the cold gets that deep in you. Reaches down to your core. Take me at my word, please. Just one sip. You feel like a whole new gal. I wonder if we'll be able to see his avatar or something. Heart-wrenching, pleasant aroma wafted up with the steam filled within the wooden cup. Succumbing to the sweet smell, I lifted the cup to my lips for just one sip, and the warmth that spread through me brought tears to my eyes. Perhaps there really was kindness in the world. A ripple spread across the surface of the milk. I heard a gentle sigh come from the man beside me, after which he said with a smile, "You should take it easy for the day." I had lost the willpower to think about anything. I didn't care what happened to me or why I was here. And I noticed this new soundtrack. Who he was, or even where this was. I spent the whole day in bed, just watching the sun slowly slide across the wooden floor. It felt like I was somewhere far, far away. At times, I felt like a lost child, and at times like a sickly old woman on her deathbed. Watching the sun travel gave me a renewed awareness of the passage of time, and the fact that each moment that went by was another moment I was alive. I realized then that it had been a while since I had gotten more than a brief glimpse at any sunlight. It almost surprised me how colorful the world seemed beneath the sun's light, something I didn't get much of in the dark mansion. Only after losing something do you realize how much you needed. Warm milk, the light shining through the window, and a bed that smelled like springtime. With those three things, my heart slowly began to defrost, and I started to regain the willpower to stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you for everything. You sure you're in any shape to be on your feet? Yes, I'm fine. Not hurt. You looked pretty beat up to me. Hmm. But you look a lot better now. And you're talking a lot more clearly than before. You've been very generous, despite having never met me before. And for that, you have my deepest gratitude. Without your help, I would no longer be in this world. I don't deserve your thanks. You are alive now because God's guidance makes it so. God, I came across you earlier this morning, and I was heading to the forest to hunt. Imagine my surprise seeing a young lady like you on the ground in my path. What were you doing in the forest anyway? Ah, don't have to tell me if you'd rather not. Everyone's got their own share of personal problems. You're not going to demand I talk? I have no reason to force you to do anything. You look like you'd been to hell and back. What? I could tell just by looking at you. Your face told me everything. Now then, do you have somewhere you have to go? Somewhere to go? Of course I don't. I can't go back to the capital or the mansion. If not, then why don't you stay here? Here? Sure, it's a small village. We're self-sufficient, and we all help each other out. No tax-hungry lords know we built this place either, so we keep everything we make. We're pretty remote as a result, and the harvest isn't fantastic, but I'm sure you'll find it comfortable here. The rest of the villagers will be glad to have you. What do you say? Sorry, Mom. What I'm about to do might make the rest of the family's lives more difficult. But I don't want to have to feel any more pain. I really wouldn't be inconveniencing you. If it's really okay, then yes, I would like to stay here. That's great to hear. I was loath to send you back out there in your current condition. Oh, I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? The name's Amédée. Amédée is one lowly villager of May. Amédée? I think it's Amédée. Amédée. Giselle. Giselle, that's a beautiful name. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a vacant house. Clean it up, and you can call it home. I couldn't possibly ask for that. I doubt others would like it if I just took a house for myself. That shouldn't be an issue. I'm the village's representative. Well, more or less. Representative? Like the chief? Only name, though. As I mentioned, we're not on any lord's maps, so I don't have much representing to do. The only reason I end up in charge is because I'm a bit more educated than anyone else. It was a long time ago, but I understudied with a priest. Because of that, I'm familiar with the Bible's teachings. So rather than a chief, the people of the village look at me more like a priest. Wouldn't be much fun if the church found out about that. They're liable to think I'm acting unordained. Then, believe in God? I feel like what he said earlier to you already tells you the answer. That's quite a question. Of course God exists. He's always watching over us. That's why you survived. Because he protected you. I understand that your faith can waver when you're going through times of tribulation. But those are the times when it's most important you keep sight of who you are. Right. Now you get some rest, will ya? Tomorrow I'll show you around the village. Thank you. Really mean it. I really, sincerely appreciate everything. Don't mention it, Giselle. This is your village now, too. So you don't need to act like a stranger anymore. Okay. So he's Amédée. He seems like a nice man. Maybe here I can leave in peace. Be alright? Sure. Yeah. I wasn't silly enough to believe my life would be perfect. But I had found a tiny fragment of my lost hope. While I had once been ready to give up on absolutely everything, I was starting to feel like I might be able to smile again. Eventually. Like I might be able to get back up on my feet. And in order to do that, I had to cast aside my past once more. Forget everything that had happened at the Bollinger estate and everything that had happened at that mansion. Forget about Michelle. There was one niggling curiosity, though, that I couldn't shake. Something he had said before I left. My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngster of this youngest son of the Bollinger family. Michelle, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive. What had he meant by that? Why would people think he was dead? No, I don't care about Michelle one bit. Forget it. Forget everything. Oh, we're back to his side of the story. Or our side of the story, I guess. The house was, as it had always been, wrapped in a thick silence. Giselle's shadow, which had been lurking the halls for about a month, nowhere to be found. She hadn't come back since running off that. My secret was still safe. Her efforts had, in the end, all been for naught. Back to the way things were. But despite my mind telling me that it was for the best, I felt kind of guilt heaping in the back of my chest. And any attempts to figure out why only made me feel worse. But the look on her face then. Please, hear me out. I don't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around trying to bring you harm me anyway. Was that really her just putting on an act because I revealed her scheming? She was screaming though, and she looked genuinely. Oh my god. I need to figure out why it's going on automatic. And she looked genuinely terrified when she knocked my hand away. I'm not falling for anything. I just feel like I know that frenzied panic. Something just doesn't add up. Be quiet. Or you're telling that to. Silence, please. My head was pounding beyond belief. I couldn't stand anything. This world, creature I was, the witch whispering, the archangel looking down upon me seemed to be cackling from somewhere far out of reach. Though, for whatever it was worth, to escape from his gaze. I once again drew the drapes over the stained glass window. Now we're back to her life in the village. Wow, it's someone new. Hey, where you from? You gotta be here long? Are you? We hardly ever get visitors here, so they're downright awestruck by you. You'll be getting a lot of attention for a little, but please don't let it get to you. No, that's just fine. I'll do my best to get along with everyone. You got spark in you that wasn't there yesterday. Anything in particular that cheered you up? In particular? Once I decided I was going to stay here, I just sort of started feeling better about things. And I figured I couldn't stay gloomy forever. I see. Well, glad to hear it. And so thanks to you, Amédée. Keep thanking me like that, and my cheeks might get stuck red. In any event, I said I'd show you around yesterday, so how about we do that? Lead the way. That said, we're a modest little village of about 100. Everyone knows everyone, because apparently you can remember about 150 people. For that size, it looks pretty big to me. Amédée taking the lead, we walked through the village, passing by crop, fields, and milk cows, presumably shared among the villagers. Houses were scattered across an area that seemed far too large for only 100 people. Actually, getting a better look at them, the buildings were dilapidated, looking more like ruins than residents. Once upon a time, this was a city. Well, rather than a village. When your ancestors lived here? Oh, no. We were drifters, fortunate enough to come across some decent looking land, so we stuck around. How do you know what it was like before then? There were a few stone tablets left behind, and based what we were able to extract from their texts. This area used to be a large city with booming economy rivaling that of the capital. There weren't hundreds, but thousands of people bustling about. Merchants from far came in droves. It was much like how the capital is now. Actually, this area was more open to foreigners even. People of all different races, speaking as many different languages, was evidently quite the sight. And damn, I had no idea there was a city here. That's what happens when a place is wiped from history. What happened? They called a buster call? I couldn't tell you how reliable the tablets are, but if you take them at their word, the city lost everything in just a single week. What? People, crops, livestock, all dead. Maybe it was a natural disaster, a famine, a plague. Well, I can't really say for sure. This is what the tablet said though. Oh, what was that flashed? I kind of want to see a glimpse of that again. We have been cursed by the witch. Cursed by the witch. Look over there. You see that river? There used to be a magnificent bridge crossing it, but there's hardly anything left for it. If you continue along that path beyond the fallen bridge, there's a forest. That's where I found you. Huh. The deeper part of the forest are so dense you can't see anything. Oh my god. I keep doing that. Anything but tree trunks and leaves. It's an eerie place, wrapped in a cloud of darkness. If you make it through that, there's a mansion, which is said to be cursed. Oh, she's aware. The witch, who supposedly destroyed the city, lives in a house deep in the forest. She's been there for years and years and years, and she casts her curse on anyone who goes near it. The city was so large that mansion was actually in its borders. I guess the bridge was built to mark the road leading to it. Now, as you can see, the bridge is gone, and the houses still standing are practically ruins. But the mansion along looks just like it did back then. The witch living in the mansion goes by the name Morgana. According to the records, someone by the same name was executed in this area for witchcraft. And even in death, she continued to bear a grudge against mankind. Who knows how much of it is true, though? True for fiction, the story has taken roots in this region. The city's history may be lost, but the legend of the witch continues to be. People have a tendency to keep stories alive that scare them. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. No, I'm fine. You Best staying away from the mention the forest at any rate. There's no saying what might actually happen if curiosity get the better of you. Better safe than sorry, if you ask me. Aside from the mention, this is a peaceful village as you'll find. I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you didn't end up wandering up there. I know all about the mansion and who lives there. Well, I was there, after all. I was there, after all, with Michelle for a full moon. But I don't remember any curse, which just a man with a bone-chilling grace. Maybe the rumors about witch living there were spread by him. Or perhaps even his family. I could see them doing that. But none of that matters to me anymore. I'm never going anywhere near that house again. The witch's curse. Michelle, there's nothing to. But the witch's curse, Michelle, there's nothing to me. With nowhere else to go, I ended up in the small village. There was no denying that there was very little to speak of here. But I found peace in that nothingness. I couldn't have been more blessed that such a kind man had found me and welcomed me into his village. The village ran entirely on its own crops and livestock. They had no currency, merely bartered among themselves. Coming from a merchant's family, everything felt so new. I had never plowed a large plot of land, milked a cow, or used a loom before. At first, I wasn't sure what to think, being such a departure from my lifestyle in the capital. But over time, I grew more comfortable with my new life, and the people of the village started thinking me as one of them. Come on, Giselle, come play with us. We're playing hide and seek today. Can't, sorry, I'm spinning yarn. You can do that later. Come on, play with us. Stop that. Don't pull my skirt. Oh, alright, you win. When I'm done with this, I'll join you. No ditching. We'll be down the square, okay? Got it. See you there. The kids have taken quite a liking to you. Amédée. You think so? They've been incredibly lively since he arrived. Children are more sensitive than adults. Sensitive? They're very perceptive of how others are feeling. If you begrudgingly play along, they'll pick up on that quickly. You like children, and that's a wonderful thing. There's not a good woman in the world who dislikes children. Why, thank you. Also, an important thing to note. There's not a good woman in the world who dislikes children. It's not saying that because she likes children, she's necessarily a good woman. Just want to point that out there, the difference. Nothing against Amédée either. I don't think so much that I like them, as I'm kind of like a big kid myself. I genuinely enjoy hide and seek, but that's not going to earn me any points. I like kids too. Watching them, it gives me faith that this world has a bright future. Bright future. I never looked at them that way. They seem to like you quite a bit too, Amédée. Thanks. Though I'd rather give my affection for my own kids. Oh? You have children? Oh, heavens no. I thought that was obvious enough. I'm talking about the future. I see. Is he saying what I think he's saying? But knowing you, Amédée, I'm sure you can find someone right to you and have kids of your own in no time. It's not that easy, sadly. And even, oh my god, I keep doing that. Even in such a small village, there are no ladies who take interest in me. You don't give yourself enough credit. I'm fully confident you'll find someone soon enough. Do you really think so? Absolutely. Then perhaps you could be that person. Yup, there it is. What? Pardon? I won't pressure you into it, of course. But I think it would be marvelous to have you in my life in a bigger way. But, it's a little soon for me to think about settling down like that. It's pretty sudden, I admit. Take all the time you need to consider it. Alright. I have to go play with the kids now. Have fun. Yeah, I knew that. I believe that since the moment he invited her to live in the village, I thought about that. Him having a thing for her. But I'm also wondering if this is gonna bring up her trauma again. If they end up getting close, you know? I wonder. I really meant to. Amédée is a nice fellow. And I'm sure living here would be wonderful. But I can't help feeling something isn't right here. Oh? Why am I thinking about him now of all times? That man has no redeemable qualities. Not one. As it turns out, Amédée was serious about his proposition, and he brought it up every time we ran into each other. Unable to give him an answer, I found myself constantly apologizing to him. Okay, I get that he wants an answer, but bringing that up so often is very much uncomfortable. Soon, winter started giving way to spring. On a day when the air still had a brisk winter bite and budding seedlings battled to break through the earth, the seams holding the village together began to come loose. That day, the village men were gathered in the square talking. They all had stern looks on their faces. It was clear that something bad happened. I obviously couldn't stick my head in, so I waited until they were done and caught Amédée. While it was rather awkward, I was still more comfortable asking him for information than anyone else. Actually, with a dejected look on his face, he started explaining. Lord found out about this village. What? And he said he's going to place this land under his rule, meaning he'll start collecting taxes. In addition, he's also demanding we pay 5 years worth of back taxes for our unauthorized use of the land. What? That's ridiculous. Yeah, it most certainly is. We obviously don't have the means to pay 5 years taxes. There's no reason for him to take over this village at all. We're completely isolated from the surrounding area, after all. But if we resist, he could send soldiers. It doesn't matter how oh my god, I keep doing it. It doesn't matter how absurd his claim to the village is. We have no choice but to comply. That's terrible. What are we going to do then? We're going to do as the Lord demands. The 5-year tax will have to be paid in installment. Some of the men suggest we abandon the land and find somewhere else. But it would take time to cultivate the land and plant new crops. It's no trivial task. We'll just have to make do with these changes. We'll use more of the land to grow and try to be more efficient. Will you help in the fields? Of course. This village is my home now, too. Thank you, Giselle. It will be difficult, but if we all pitch in, I'm sure we can get through this. I thought the same thing. If we all work together, we can make it through this rough patch. But the collection of taxes brought more than just a burden for everyone to share. It brought emotional strain and conflict to the village too. Your family has more hands who work the fields. I have a sickly child. You expect him to work any harder than he is? I know you're hiding grain in your cellar. You have more than us. Let us keep a little grain. You have more. No, you have more. You both have more than us. When their possible lives fell under attack, the villagers' top priority became their own property. The cooperation was only temporary, and before long, everyone became a threat. Everyone was started to look out for themselves instead of working as a unit like they were before. The negative energy only built on itself, its growth accelerating like a boulder rolling down the hill. And it wasn't long before the sights fell on me, the outsider. And I think we're gonna stop here. The end of me. Oof. What a title for a chapter. But yeah, so she started a new life after she basically gave up on her life. And Amédée found her and took her to that no-named village. But who knows how long they've been holding onto that land with no ownership. And now Lord found and wants back taxes for the time they've been living there with no one demanding any taxes. So really pushed quite a lot from them and made them be aggressive towards each other. And instead of being a community, they all were looking out for themselves. So of course it's gonna end up with the outsider, the newcomer, that's gonna get the short end of the stick. But we'll have to find out what happens about that later. So with that being said, see you next time. Bye.